Imagine though. That would be kind of fun though. We'll just be on the sidelines. I'll be on the sidelines.
Striker actually might be, because if I fuck someone up on defense, it's gonna be so glaringly obvious. Like, you know what I'm saying? But if I like miss the ball at strikers, like
We got the mics on and everything too. And then it's like, oh, there's another video right there.
Can't be all fuck. That's on me, boys.
My bad, guys. All right, let's do this shit. Yo!
Popping was cracking.
Back for another one!
Was cooking, was
Oh,
slapping.
we're gonna miss it. No, we're not.
I didn't have the headphones on.
I know, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. No big deal. What's up, guys? We're recording this on a Thursday. Welcome into another podcast. If you're watching on YouTube or Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we welcome you to the All Day Everyday Show with All Day AJ and the homie Manny Ruffin.
Newest striker for the bench mob. Number 9.
Striker for the
Number 9.
Welcome to another podcast, everybody. If you guys are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, give us those ratings. This is the things that give us the exposure that we need. And if you are watching this on YouTube, drop a like down below and a comment about how the guests went, how our clarity of the video is. We had some kind of issues last week with El Capitan. And if you guys did not get a chance to see the El Capitan episode, it's right on the YouTube. I mean, you got to check that one out. It's the story of what's going on with El Capitan right now. His Discord is now live, so you guys can go in there and check that out. You can hear where he's been and what's been going on with that. But we do have a big show today. We're talking with Jerry and, NFL, how he's attacking that. MLB with the Mets and the Yankees. Obviously, I got my Yankees hat to sport that. We're getting into much, much more with him. It's been a very long time since we've seen him. The last time we actually had him on this podcast was, well, I'll let you kind of explain what that was. Remember?
Yeah, we had to just touch on things in the state of gambling Twitter. We'll ask him how
we're going to talk about that.
The state has improved or not improved since his last visit. But, I mean, let's welcome Jerry into the show.
Well, let's welcome Jerry in.
I don't like calling him by his fucking Twitter handle, by the way.
Neither do I. I think I did it the very first.
We're going to talk about actually, that might be one of the first questions I ask him. Like, yeah, we're going to get a...
And, guys, remember, I didn't say this earlier, but hit the subscribe button as well. Don't fucking forget about that. Okay, while we fix this view here, Jerry, where is he?
There he is.
There he is. Thank you.
There he is.
You got a big applause for you today.
The one and only.
We see
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you. Oh, of course.
How do I look?
You look great. Better than ever.
Wow, you're a fucking full of shit.
What's going on, my guy?
Is that a tall boy?
Yeah. That is a tall boy. Thursday. You know we had to come out.
Oh, man.
Come out, show out.
I'm trying to fix this view, bro.
So what's up, guys? It's been like fucking forever.
I know. Well, I wanted to first kind of, not even really question, I wanted to just kind of ask your opinion on the Subway series going on here. 2-2 now. Who's the best team in New York? Do we know? Do we know or do we not know?
Yeah, you had to get me aggravated.
Oh, no, the very first question, Jerry. I need to know. Do we still have the same faith that that's the best team in New York or no? Or is it the Yankees?
I was already aggravated because I had to look at one dick with a fucking Yankee hat on, and now you're asking me
another dick asking about it
right after the wound is not healed yet. It sucks. Yeah, we lost 2 in their house. They lost 2 in our house. They're still a poverty franchise. I don't give a shit. They could win every game for the rest of the season. They still suck. My hat says Yankees suck. I mean,
that sucks because I'm wearing my Yankees.
And I saw you quote tweet a tweet, Jerry, that said Yankees fans have small dicks. I think. Alex, do you have any?
No, I saw that. You're so ignorant.
Do you have
and then
anything
you also tweeted, and then you he also tweeted after I was trolling you after game 1. You're like, yeah, it's going to be 3-1 Subway Series this year, and then big bats.
Yeah, and then you paid DeGrom to push his start back.
That was awesome too. I knew it was happening after that. It was just irrelevant. You guys were just irrelevant there. And I loved when El Capitan was here last week talking all this trash, like, oh, you're 70 wins. Now the Mets are the best team in baseball. And then, Yankees come back after a little slump.
Aren't you guys like 10-15 in your last 25?
It's been a rough August. It's been a rough August, I'll tell you that.
Not the time of the year to be doing this.
They don't have 10 wins in August yet.
Hey, but
so put it this way. It's a 2-2 series.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 2-2 series, and the Mets have the better record. Mets run New York.
Okay. We're going to let you hold that for now. But last time we brought you on, Jerry, we were talking about kind of some things going on in gambling Twitter and like the state of it, how things were looking at that time. Do you think the state of gambling Twitter has gotten better since that interview, or do you think it's gotten worse? Like, what do you think the state of gambling Twitter is right now?
Oh, much better. It's I think like most of the trolls are blocked by everybody at this point because it's before when we first started this thing like 2 years ago, it was new and there was a lot of people, maybe these kids grew up, but there was a lot of people that would respond like just stupid shit, like trolls all the time, like just nice people. Someone will post a pic and it'll be like, oh, this is gonna miss, so this is gonna do this. I think people are learning etiquette on Twitter of not to just like talk shit for no reason, because these kids get blocked, they make another account, and they're like more well behaved or whatever the case is. It's just you don't want to burn bridges with people. A lot of these younger guys on Twitter, they're maybe aspiring cappers. Maybe they want to be something. They know that's not the way to do it, is by just harassing and trashing everybody and their picks and everything like that. Free picks, it's probably the stupidest thing I can imagine, is when someone gives out an analysis, a little write-up, and posts a pick, and then this guy will write like fade, or he'll write something stupid underneath it. Like, this guy took his time out. This is why everybody has a fucking VIP now, because people are ungrateful.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Okay.
somebody will just do all this work and then have to see a guy like make fun of him because it missed. I'm like, what?
Well, we were actually going to go. I mean, we were going to go there a little bit later, but you kind of just went there. So let's go there. We asked El Capitan the same question as well. And just because throughout these last couple of months, like that we haven't seen you, not only ourselves, but, many of these guys out there as well, just even consumers of gambling Twitter or gambling TikTok. You see, even on TikTok now, there's a lot of guys and girls that are making and monetizing Discords, Telegrams, whatever the hell that may be. And we asked the same thing to El Capitan. What are your thoughts on this as somebody that has been doing this, that, from an outsider, from us, we can't really give the biggest opinion on it because we're not in it. Like you and Kenny and Cap and Bo and all those guys are involved in this. We're not in it, so we can't really give the best opinion on it. What are your thoughts on all these people that are monetizing this?
Well, everybody deserves to be paid for their hard work, and that's the end of the story. However, it's getting to a little bit of a ridiculous point now where people are forgetting where the fuck they came from. And all of a sudden you don't see a guy post anything related to gambling all day, and then he'll give a recap on his Discord, this and that. Like, there's so much going on in baseball. If you're giving out 15 fucking plays a day, why can't you just talk to people and say, oh, I like this guy, or I like that guy? Gambling Twitter in that aspect is dead. It is really, really bad right now. There's no more like interactions, like people posting their plays, bouncing ideas around. And I get for the most part, but you can still do it once in a while. And it's becoming a dying thing right now. And like, I don't give a shit. I'll post every pick I do for the Discord in a day on Twitter if I want to. I don't care. People are so competitive. They want to like privatize everything because it brings the enamor. Like, I want to see what's going on. I can't see. All I see is his 2 winning tickets at the end of the day. I want to get in there, and they'll make their quick buck. And I tell everybody like, hey, I sucked in baseball this year. I'm down negative for the year, 100%. And I don't give a shit because I don't care about competition, but I know what I'm doing. And I trust myself to like stay responsible and not lose a fortune on it. I bet small. It is what it is. But I'm not shy about it. There's a lot of people that mislead people. It's a lot of bullshit as far as that goes. But it is what it is. But I just wish that people would interact more and just like talk about. I love creating content. I love working with dimers. I love making videos and giving like a little analysis. It's fun. It's so much fun. And I don't understand why people don't want to involve themselves more in that kind of like direction.
Do you think there's going to be ever a time again where we're going to see like legitimate free plays from these handicappers compared to what it is now, where it's like my longest of fucking long shots, and then, it's most likely not going to hit, versus like, even probably a year and a half ago, you would see, free play of the day, it'd be like a -115, like a legitimate pick. Do you think we'll ever get back to that point? Or is it always just going to be, here's the link to my paid Discord, it's month-to-month basis and whatever?
The problem is nobody gives a shit about people that don't have like a personality that attracts them, like a outspoken person or a controversial person. So there's a lot of talent out there that give free picks and they'll put an analysis out there, but they're kind of quiet. They're not funny. Like this guy Prospector Sam, the most unfunniest guy I've ever met in my entire
grinder.
life. Guy is not even remotely funny. He tries to make jokes. He sucks. No, I'm just kidding. I love you. But
Sam was like, "Yeah, I'm catching a stray. We only 10 minutes in. I'm catching a stray."
I was a little confused. You fooled me on that one too.
No,
That's
no,
funny.
he's my boy. But like, even him, I see him, like I talk to him all the time. I see him, he gets frustrated because he doesn't have this big enamoring personality, and he gives free plays out all the time. He does write-ups on dimers. You just click a link to get it. He'll post on Twitter all the time. But he does, like, people want to see. So I know of quite a few people that actually suck at gambling, but they have big followings because they're just people like the way they talk or the way they act on social media. They try to be likable or purposefully unlikable, and they actually really suck at gambling. And I know quite a few of them, but people will still gravitate towards these people instead of the people that are working hard on the inside that are not really a big personality. It's kind of a backwards thing right now. And like, I try to push people as much as I can. If this guy's good, I'll give him a retweet. If I see a write-up of somebody, I'll try to give them a retweet because they worked hard on it and they're giving free information out.
You were talking about, first of all, I had to say something because you were talking about how you were down in MLB. Well, MLB is fucking hard. Can we all just admit that? Yeah. Who's off MLB right now? Like, I'd happily want to talk to him and ask him how the fuck they did that. But you were talking about how, like, the trolls might have calmed down. But then I was on your Twitter one day, like a couple weeks ago, and someone's giving you a hard time because you don't want to drive to New York for fucking work. And I'm pretty sure, like, it'd cost you $10,000 in fucking gas to try to drive. Like, what's up with that, bro? Like, I don't so they can't call it the gambling anymore. So now they come at you for fucking not wanting to spend $18,000 on gas a month.
I was gonna say,
like, what's good with that?
The trolls never stop here with Jerry.
You know what it is? I kind of understand. Like, when we lived in Brooklyn, we would cut ass on people that take the bus because that's like poverty. You take the subway and you walk. You don't want to take the fucking bus. Only old people take the buses. So it's a different environment. I don't know where he's from. I don't know where that kid's from. He was a troll. Apparently, people messaged me like, "Nah, this kid's a real piece of shit. He does this to everybody." Yikes, so I blocked him and I moved on. But like, I kind of wanted to put it out there. Like, you shouldn't make fun of people because it's still a thing. You shouldn't make fun of people that work hard because there's people that still look at janitors like, oh, janitor. Meanwhile, janitors have, if they're in a union, they're making good money, benefits, they're retiring, and they never have to work again after that. But like me personally, like it was new to me too. When I moved to Jersey, I'm like, oh, bus, I got to ride a bus. But a lot of the construction guys, we all do it because driving from Jersey, my car takes $20 in gas just for a round trip, just to get to New York. The tolls from my house just to get to Manhattan round trip, I think it comes out to $38.
Please.
To pay for a parking garage, depending on where I'm working in the city, is anywhere from $25 to $50 plus tip. It becomes very, very expensive. And the bus costs $375 a month. So you do the math. I could drive into work for 4 days, or I could take a bus for a month.
Right.
Yeah, it's an easy choice to me.
And you just find a way to like deal with these trolls too. You've always been like the father figure.
Yeah, does that like seep in at all? Like at all? Like long bus rides to work, long day at work, come home, you're still giving out free things in your Discord, doing your thing. Like, does that ever get to you at all, or is it at this point just laughable?
It in the beginning, it kind of did. Like, it was I don't know. I feel like I'm just like numb in my, like, I have such a routine. I work sometimes 6 days a week. So I go to work, I bust my ass. And then like my bus ride home is like, peaceful when I'm not having head-on collisions on the highway.
Yeah, that was hilarious to read about. It's hilarious.
That was probably one of the scariest moments of my fucking life.
What the fuck happened? Like, what'd you guys do? My bad. What the fuck did you guys do?
So my bus drives on the wrong side of the road. They put these little cones up.
Oh, he was
like
fried.
the transit guys put these little cones up for like buses in the mornings on the wrong side of the highway. So every once in a while, I think to myself, like, we're literally on the wrong side of the highway flying on oncoming traffic. All it takes is one dickhead to just like lose control a little bit. And the one bus that's got to an accident in fucking years in that lane, I'm talking, there's like hundreds, maybe thousands of buses that take this lane round trip every morning. And I got to be in the one bus that gets onto a head-on collision with a fucking guy going full speed right at us.
Oh my God.
I still can't get over it that I'm like, why me? Why does this, like, really good things happen to me and really bad things happen to me? That's why I'm staying the fuck away from airplanes.
Yikes. I still think it's easier to fly somewhere, but we won't get
not
into
Jerry.
Not for Jerry. I was going to say we won't get into that.
I'll be on that one fucking plane. Yeah. I'll probably survive. I'll fucking hang on to the wing and do something. And then I'm like, look at this. Come on.
We'll get any type of turbulence, and Jerry's like, all right, bro, give me the parachute. So throughout these, like, the timeline of Twitter for the past couple months, you've received some love and you've received some hate. And I feel like you always come back to like your median and your middle ground of like, everybody, at least from an outsider looking in, has enjoyed your presence greatly in this community, whether you're doing insanely well in gambling or you're not doing well in gambling. It's the same. So can you just talk about like some of the experiences of like, I just saw the other day Marcus was giving you some props for the home run betting, and again, like
it was the vulgar burger hit,
and
the
exactly,
vulgar
and
burger.
then like you get like those hits like that, and like how kind of the timeline of how that worked out so perfectly of like, Marcus says something like that, gives you your credibility that you always deserve for that kind of thing. And then like you get the home run bet and your analysis like the day before. So kind of just talk to us a little bit about like, hearing some of these guys throughout this space that have said so many good things to you in these past couple months of like a very hard baseball season that we've been seeing, right?
Yes.
So like, I love all these guys. I have so much love. Like it kind of sucks because it's been very competitive in general with a lot of like I don't think a lot of people say it, but you kind of see like the competitive, like I want to be a little better, even if they're not very vocal about it. And that's fine. Everybody deserves to be a little competitive, but I feel like people's been drifting apart with like the VIPs and everybody wants to, get the little edge on there. But at the end of the day, I'll be the guy that doesn't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't care if I'm the worst Discord of them all. Like I want to do what I've done for the last 2 years, which is have fun and make new friends. And I've made a lot of good friends. And you know what? Nobody can say that I have problems with any of these guys because I get along with all of them. I don't care if it's, I don't want to use specific names for Discords, but like all these guys, I have a good relationship with. If I wanted to do like a collab parlay with somebody, nobody's going to say no to me because I like these guys. I'll get along with them. I'd hang out with them if they live closer. A lot of these guys are a little spread out, but it's so fun for me to get along with people. I don't understand why people like to not get along with people and they want to be bitchy to other people. I really like hanging out and being like, like I'm in a bar. If I'm in a bar, I like to walk around. I like to hang out and talk to this guy. How you been? How you doing? Like this and that. How's life? This and that. And then I want to walk over to the other guy and get along with that guy. You know what I mean? And I feel the same way about Twitter. You get the same person on Twitter as you get in real life. It's really cool. And hopefully we can keep building these relationships because now we're pretty much good friends as far as 2 years going on. What if like 4 or 5 years now we're like, wow, we've been friends for 7 years. Fact. That's a long time to be friends with people. You know?
Right. And like, just, it brings up the point as well as like, I don't know if you've started realizing like the stigma that you're seeing throughout gambling Twitter is like, all these handicappers are going to just pop off for NFL season. So like obviously being on good terms with all these people, like everybody just wants everybody to win for NFL. And God damn it, so many people have been waiting for NFL. Some people are like, I'm not even betting MLB. I want to save my money for NFL. So like being on the same page. And I think there's so many people out there, handicappers themselves, and also like the people that are telling them that are just like, bro, I just want NFL back.
So badly. You want anytime touchdown parlay, please.
Yeah, right. Where you can just like smack for that. So we want to talk a little bit more about your MLB and your home run plays and where you kind of find those. And then we're going to get into some NFL and how you're kind of going to attack that. But let's keep it right here with MLB. So with the MLB, you did just smack that Big Danny Burgers play. And we saw that analysis there from Dimers. Talk to us about like where you're finding these because like and what you see in the home run plays. Because honestly, I think it's like personally, I think it's one of the hardest things to do is actually find these. And like, for example, I had a great example last night. I had JT Realmuto down to a T last night for hitting a home run. And even the fact that, he's been the best catcher in baseball since like July or something. It's like all these stats are like first in hitting, let alone, fielding. And then it's like plus 420. Great value for a home run bet from a guy that actually is on a home run hitting team. And I just didn't fucking take it because I'm too scared of those home run bets. And then it happens. And then normally I'll take something else tonight. I think I'm on like Anthony Rizzo tonight and Pete Alonso tonight. Watch them lose. I'm like, don't go and chase the next night. But just talk to us about like where you're finding these plays and what you see in them. Because again, you can really lose a lot of money on home run parlays or even plays in general, just because they're so much harder to actually find.
So it worked really well last year, but this season, not so much. But the first thing I like to do. No, I'm lying. Not the first thing, but all right, let's go back. The first thing I do is look at like lefty righty splits.
Okay.
And I'll look at this guy's a lefty. How does he do against righties? The righty's a starting pitcher. How many home runs does I'll look at his game log? Has he given up at least one home run per game? Which is usually it's pretty common that a guy will give up one home run, 3 out of 4 starts, something like that at least. If a guy has like no home runs given up in the last 3 starts, and I look at his ground ball rate, and he's a lot of ground balls, I try to stay away from that. Lefty righty splits is a big one, but then it's very deceiving because you could be like, this guy smashes lefties. Now you'll look at the lefty, the pitcher, his splits, and all of a sudden he is dominating, the opposite side. It's supposed to be reverse splits. It's supposed to be the right-hand batter dominates lefties, but the pitcher might have a good cutter or something that, lefties can't hit, so you got to look at it that way. And then I had this thing that it really worked out well last year that involves a lot of luck, but I'll look at a guy and be like, man, this guy hasn't hit a home run in like 6 days. Like this can't go on much longer. And that's how it shows how much luck is involved in baseball. Because last season I was profitable in baseball by doing this. And then I also had some crazy calls. Jorge Alfaro last year hit 4 home runs, and I posted and bet him 3 times, and he hit a home run in each of those games a month apart from each other. So shit like that was just going my way last season. So, but like this season, it's a lot of luck when you look at a guy and be like, oh, this guy's hit a home run in 6 games. There's no way this keeps up, and you bet him. But it hasn't really worked out this year because some guys have gone 2-3 weeks without hitting a home run. Like Alonso's, I think, what is it? 2 weeks now.
And he's I believe he's plus 300 or plus 330 tonight, something like that. I took it, and I took Rhys Hoskins, and I took Rizzo as well. Again, this is Thursday, August 25th.
So how much does we talked to Joke about his home run plays, and that's something that actually blew my mind because when I look at a home run play, I'm looking at the wind, and he's like, no, like the wind doesn't really fucking matter at all. Like, so how much do you think the wind ties into the home runs? Does it really not matter? Does it matter a little bit? Like, do you take a peek at it? Like, what do you think about the wind and how it correlates to the home run plays?
Like all those guys that go to Baseball Savant and be like, the wind says it does this. That means it's green. That means it's a home run.
Wind does matter for me personally. Blowing out, you're looking at, you want to go with big power hitters that can hit the ball off the end of the bat and will hit a fly ball that'll get a little carried out, But it definitely does matter. But people get scared off when they see like wind blowing in, and then like one of the apps will post like minus 20 home runs, or something like that. And then people get scared off, and all of a sudden the big slugger that they were looking at all day hits a home run anyway, because I mean, it cuts it down. It'll stop some home runs that would usually be home runs, but these guys are able to hit the ball 420 feet. It's not going to stop that ball. It's not going to bring it down to 350 feet. You know what I mean? So people get scared off by shit like that. And that doesn't bother me. If I like a slugger and I see minus 20, I'm still going to take him. Like I was looking at Christian Walker last week. He was playing, I think, in San Francisco, and it was like minus 22 or minus 25. They said percentage, the wind's blowing in. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. And sure enough, he hit a home run. So you got to be careful with that. But wind blowing out is scary because people will load up on that game. So they'll make crazy ever since the Field of Dreams, everybody says wind's blowing. Oh, Field of Dreams game. But it's like you're loading up. You're making 10 different parlays. You're spending $10. All of a sudden, you just lost $100 because there was only 2 home runs, and there was a long shot guy and this guy, and so people lose a lot of money when they see that. How low will you go in terms of odds? Like, since I never see you touch, I rarely even see you touch a 250 for real.
Well, yeah, I mean that's like an Aaron Judge.
Nah,
for real. But like realistically, it's not even worth it. I'm sure he's gonna
like what's the lowest you'll go? 300, 330?
It depends. If I'm putting like a long shot lotto together with like 4 legs or something like that, which by the way has not even come close to hitting at all this season. But if I'm ready to lose money and throw $5 on a 4-legger, I'll have no problem putting Aaron Judge at plus 190 or plus 200 because it's just going to boost the odds. I don't care. But if
would you round robin that? Like if you
round robin,
like with some of the, like if you did 4 or 5, like because most of the time, like if you're on the better side of picking those home runs and those guys that hit the home runs, maybe you do do the round robin where you get 2 right out of 4, like. Most of the time, maybe it's better that way, but I don't know. I think you were the guy that said in the first episode with us that you were like, I fucking hate round robin.
Definitely was.
I like round robins for first baskets. I like round for baseball. I am having a hard enough time picking one guy right So if I'm doing 3 or 4 legs, I'm just throwing more money out the window, kind of. But if I have like a fucking 6 or 7 legger, I will do the next one up. So if it's a 6 leg parlay, and then the next round robin would be 5, which is like I'll put some spare change or something small on that, just in case. I'm not going to be sitting there cursing that I missed by 1 leg. I'll still win something.
Right.
But I don't really mess around. I'm not good enough at home run betting to feel confident in wasting more money,
So what do you look to take outside of home run betting? Is it, do you spend some time on maybe hit parlays, same game parlays?
I do a lot of one-hit parlays. I do a lot of, like, tonight I did 2 picks I gave out on swinging for the fences, but I took them for 1 hit. I did Adley Rutschman, and I did Gavin Sheets for 1 hit, and the odds were plus 115. And I'll put like a heavy amount on that. And then, so even if my, home run bets miss or whatever, I'm not losing money. I'm making money. So usually I try to do like 2 or 3 of those. And it's so inconsistent though, because I have gone in streaks where I've hit 4 straight bankroll builders, and then like 2 or 3 miss in a row. And I'm like, I need 1 hit from each guy. What the fuck's going
for
on?
baseball, what would you classify as your bankroll builder? Like in terms of the legs that are in your bankroll builder for that?
I like to keep it 2 legs at 1 hit, and it has to be, if it ain't plus 100, it better be damn close. Maybe minus 101, minus 102. I hate doing anything lower than that.
Okay. Yeah, because
I feel like, I like to see my money that I put in. I like to double that. You know what I mean?
No, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, because I would just say for like a guy that's been, we see a lot of the home run bets, just trying to figure out where else do you look? Where else do you look on the slate besides home runs? And obviously you go to the 1 hits. Like I would just think like, even is it, do you look at alternate overs with same game parlays? Do you look at like team totals? Do you get super degenerate and try to, sneak a nerfy in here and there? Like what are kind of the other things that you're looking at that aren't necessarily on the home run side of MLB?
2 runs. I'll look at a great matchup. Well, the White Sox aren't as good as versus lefties anymore, but a game where they had their full lineup and they're facing a lefty and Tim Anderson was healthy, I'd be like, I'm going to take Tim Anderson for 2 runs here, and at plus whatever it is, plus 300, plus 400, like it was good odds.
Damn.
And it came through a few times for me this season. That was like, wow, all right, this might work. And like you look at Mookie Betts, if they have a good pitching matchup, Mookie Betts, gets on base, some of those big bats will bring him in. And it's exciting because usually they lead off the game, and if your guy scores a run in that first inning, you're like, oh shit, now I'm waiting on him to just score again. If he hits a home run, it cashes. If he, if he scores, he cashes. That's it. So that's definitely exciting when you get 2 runs. I've tried a couple 2-run parlays, and it's gotten close, but I think that's a good spot for a lotto for like 2 runs parlays. Like your leadoff hitter scores twice. I mean, these guys are can score 5-6 runs.
Yeah, you look last
hitters.
night. I mean, Braves and Dodgers had 14 runs.
Yeah, so. Someone scored twice in that motherfucker.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good one where if you have some good pitching matchups, maybe take a couple leadoff hitters and put them together.
So since we have you here, Jerry, one half of the Nostradamus crew, because the Nostradamus crew to me is Jerry and Kenny together because they just tend to call shit. Who do you have winning the World Series that's not your Mets and not the nasty ass Yankees over here? Like, who do you like to win the World Series if it's not the Mets?
I'm rooting for the Blue Jays.
Okay.
What?
Okay. No,
Blue Jays are hot. Blue Jays are hot. I'm telling you, the Blue Jay. And you know what? It sucks that Vladdy's not hitting home runs no more, but maybe it's a good thing that he's just smacking the ball everywhere else. Like It's just, they have the potential to be such a pain in the ass in the playoffs with the contact rate and just
that pitching they have too is.
So it's just it's one of those sleeper teams that I'm probably gonna maybe sprinkle on a little bit. Last year I actually bet Mets and Blue Jays in the beginning of the season. I forgot to fucking do it this year as the World Series matchup. So I kind of regret it, but I'll probably be sprinkling on something on them to win the World Series.
You can't
so no Phillies love.
You can't also just dodge the fact that the Dodgers are just so scary, right? I'm not even talking about betting at all because obviously odds would make no sense to do that. But why would you not even think about even just with a non-looking at odds, non-placing a bet on the World Series? Why wouldn't you even think about saying it's the Dodgers? I mean, just watching them last night, I'm like, holy shit, dude! Who's gonna stop this game?
I mean, yeah. A lot of guys got rings already though. So I like to look at a team that's like the full team is just hungry for a ring. You very rarely get that team that's like they have that same spirit, competitive spirit, in that playoffs. And I hate to say it, but the last time you saw that year after year was the fucking Yankees, but they had all steroid heads, so it doesn't count. But that's like the last time you really seen like the same spirit and fight in the playoffs every year. But Dodgers are obviously going to be great. They're going to be there. It's just like one of those things where it's kind of like, I'm tired of talking about this fucking team that's always there.
Can't stand it.
And as we get, I want to shift here to NFL, but as we get right into NFL, can you tell us the question that I've been waiting to ask? Is the Thursday Night Lotto show keeping up from Jerry in Thursday Night Footballs, throughout this entire season? Give me the answer we are looking for.
If Thursday Night Lotto's coming back?
Yes, sir.
I have a conference call tonight to find out.
I was getting a little nervous.
We're on it. We're on our shit, Jerry.
On the topic of NFL, though, Jerry. So me and Alex are doing a Dynasty Football League, the first time we've been doing it. And with our draft pick, we decided to invest in a couple quarterbacks a couple people at quarterback for our team.
You had to start two. So, you got to get, two or more.
So we grabbed Derek Carr, and he was like our safety guy, number one guy. Then we grabbed Tua. We were both high on Tua. So what do you think about Tua going into the year? Is he going to have a productive fantasy year? Do you think he's going to be snapping with this revamped offense? Do you think he's a little overrated? What do you think about the draft pick of Tua, and what do you think he's going to do this year?
So I like to think I'm a very unbiased Dolphins fan. I am.
So we're fucked.
All right. It doesn't sound like it on Twitter and social media, but when I evaluate the players, I am pretty unbiased, and I love Tua. Okay. I love Tua. It's just things you can't really teach, like ball placement. And it's it's a very overrated thing that it's said he has a very catchable ball, but apparently he does. The receivers are saying it. Everybody's saying that he has a very catchable ball, and they say it's a different kind of lefty because lefties, the ball spirals a little different, and a lot of guys struggle with that after having righty quarterbacks most of their careers. But every wide receiver is like, this is unbelievable. It's I don't feel a difference. It's right there. But Tua's accuracy is so underrated. All right, the guy didn't throw bombs down the field 50, 60 yards, but this offense is built for yards after catch.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's built. You have Mike Gesicki, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. Then you have Chase Edmonds, who's one of the fastest running backs in the league that no one talks about. You have all these speed weapons that you want to get the ball in their hand and block. So it's a little bit overrated. Everybody's like, but he can't throw deep, because this team is going to be literally blocking and running everywhere. And it's going to be a nightmare for teams. And Tua's stats are going to reflect that. I think he's going to have a really good season as far as stats, as far as completion percentage. He's going to be top 5 in the league in completion percentage. I can almost guarantee that, just the way they play. They're not taking deep shots all game. They're going to be getting the ball in. He's going to be something special to watch. He's so smart too. Guy has such a high football IQ. He's a good leader. I mean, there's a lot of things that people don't really talk about, and they're so obsessed with deep balls because of Aaron Rodgers and all these guys flinging it downfield, but there's a lot more to the game than that.
I think Tua was somebody that people like to hate too, because the way he came in the national championship game as a freshman, throwing the game-winning touchdown and being almost untouchable the next year after that. But he had a shit ton of great wide receivers, and like you said, how the offense would be this year with a lot of quick game. You saw last year with Jalen Waddle was a lot of 5-yard, 10-yard outs. It was kind of like that at Alabama with slants and posts and stuff like that. I feel like people just love to hate on Tua because he hasn't really had the really rags to riches quarterback story where he takes a team that's not that good and he just carries them on their back. I just feel like people like to hate on Tua a little more. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. He's a likable guy, good quarterback, no trouble, no extra stuff. It's just a little weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think I remember when Russell Westbrook, Russell Wilson first came in the league, and he got a lot of slack too. He got carried by the Legion of Boom. I don't know if you remember that, but he got no credit for those teams. And a lot of guys saw a different thing with him. This guy's pretty good. And then once the defense started to fall apart, everybody saw he was having ridiculous productive season. He had a 6-game stretch where he set an NFL record for completion percentage and passer rating, shit like that he was doing. No one was talking about it because everybody wanted to say that he was carried by his defense. But a lot of people don't like to give credit unless it's the quarterback, that's likable, you know. Even
Yeah,
Tom
the hot
Brady got a
quarterback.
lot of shit throughout his career. Tom Brady got shit all
Facts.
throughout his career, saying that he has a dink and dunk offense.
Mhm.
What did he do? He got older and his deep ball got better. You know, it's like people are never gonna give credit.
Also, not to mention too, like Tua is also set up to be very successful this season as well.
Oh my God.
So you're putting guys in the right places to make the younger guy that, with all these critics saying that he's not this or he's not that, all those things can and will be found out this year. So on the betting side of things, what is kind of the stuff that you're looking at to attack early on in this season? I know we're not looking here for futures at all. It's kind of just maybe some player props that worked last year that you might want to continue to implement this year, or maybe it's your spreads and your money lines and your overs and unders. What are kind of those things that you're looking at to attack when we get to this NFL season and just about 2 weeks away?
I am a terrible September bettor. So is everybody else.
Yeah, we got that last week.
So is everybody else. I told people. So speaking of El Cap, that guy is one of my good friends, and I vouch for him. I know him. I speak to him. I know his brain. He is a fucking incredible gambler. So last year when he did his VIP, I was, posting about it like, this is great. He's a football. And then people were fucking slamming me in my DMs saying, this guy sucks. It was like the first 2 weeks. This guy sucks. What did you do? This guy's a fraud. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I said 90% of the gamblers lose in the first 2 weeks. There's no fucking data. There's no data to go off of. All the things that we look for, there's nothing there. Some of these teams are completely wiped of their roster, completely new schemes, new coaches. We need time. That's why I'll tell everybody who'll listen, you're going to struggle the first few weeks, most likely. If you win, God bless. It's one of those things. Until there's October starts to become really good into like early November. I like to look at things like DVOA and stuff like that, where there's data where they show like the teams, if a team has like a lot of rushing yards against a bad team, that won't reflect on their DVOA. It won't make them look like a superb team. Instead of looking at stats, being like, wow, this team has the most rushing yards in the league. Yeah, because they played the bottom 3 teams in the league the last 3 weeks. So there's a lot of data you can really dig into, but you don't have that to your disposal. And you also have to use your eyes for the first few weeks and see how it gels, because a lot of these teams are going to struggle out the gate with chemistry, new guys on the field. I don't know how the Dolphins are going to play the first 3 weeks. They have a lot of new pieces, brand new coach, brand new scheme. A lot of shit like that is wait and see, and then start saying, all right, you know what? Tua really likes to run this play to this guy. This guy's going to get a lot of looks against this defense. And it's always a waiting game. But once like the last week of September, early October, things really start to make sense. And all of a sudden the people who were bashing every single capper on social media because their picks were missing, all of a sudden they're like, this guy's a god, and
comes around, goes around.
Why do you think people can't understand that? Because like when you bet at your own agency, do you not realize that you fucking lose? Like, you know what I mean? Like when I bet to my own devices, I know by the end of the month, if I'm even, it's like, all right, you know what I mean? We didn't lose shit.
Right.
It's cool. Like, so when I get a pick from Cap or you or Kenny, like, and it's like, I lost. Like, I don't give a fuck. It's like they are way better than me. And they're even in their write up, I'm like reading it. I'm like, yeah, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that. So why don't you think these people get it? Like, why? Like, what is wrong with this?
It's because they have that. Like, in my opinion, I would say they put these guys on pedestals and like just assume that
you
they're
have to be
always
God.
going
You
to
have
win.
to be God. Yeah.
Like they are always going
we
to
are
win.
gambling, guys.
Not only that, people just like fucking with people. They like getting reactions. Like I'm like, oh, this guy's pick mix. I mean, hey, you fucking suck.
Right.
Let's see if he fucking quote tweets me or something like that. I don't get those trolls anymore because I never respond to them. I always block them right away, and it doesn't bother me. That's the one big thing. I think I spoke about this last time I was on. I do not give a flying fuck if you talk about my mother on Twitter. And I love my mother. I do not give a shit. You will try to say everything to aggravate me. I'll block you and I won't even think about you 5 seconds later. Because why am I going to give somebody their goal? You know what I mean? Why their goal is to piss me off. There's a few times where like I'll quote tweet like that guy with the bus thing talking shit. And that was like more of like a lesson like, hey, there's a lot of people out there that are in the gambling community and we're working people. We're construction guys, this and that. And we're doing pretty good, So
Oh, shit.
Right.
the little things like that, I'll try to make a lesson out of somebody, but other than that, I don't give a fuck what you say on Twitter. It's not a real place. You're not gonna see me in the streets, and that's another thing. Like people love fucking making threats on Twitter. I'll fuck you up. I'll do this. I'm like, you're not. First of all, I'm still not used to this whole social media thing because like when I was growing up, even in my early 20s, everybody on my social media were people I would run into in the streets. So if I'm going to a bar or something like that, so there was no like threats because you know what, you're gonna have to see me in 2 weeks, and then what, you know, we're not gonna just let it go. We'll just either you're gonna hit me, I'm gonna hit you. It's a whole different world where you have guys living in fucking Texas or something talking shit on Twitter saying I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna take a flight over there. You're not gonna fucking take a flight. I have yet to see somebody say that on social media and show up at that.
Let me go travel to Mitch.
Yeah.
It's the stupidest thing ever. So the threats are all empty. I don't give a shit, and it's just hilarious seeing people try to like act like they're getting street cred or something for arguing with people on social media. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
So for as the NFL season approaches, for your Discord and even just betting in general, regardless of putting plays out there, how are you going to try to be able to, manage being able to get that NFL research done? Because I know you've told us in the past about how the research time comes in after work and all that. How are you going to be able to kind of manage doing NFL and like the back end of MLB where
It's
we finally
October,
get
baby.
to like October baseball, exciting baseball, it's playoffs. But then also on the other side, you got to take Van Jefferson for over 6.5 receptions. Some
Right.
stuff like that where you got to find that research. Talk to us a little bit about like how you're going to be able to manage that, and if you're going to maybe be more on NFL and a little bit lesser on MLB, something like that.
Football is beautiful. I mean, baseball is going to be a daily thing. That's the usual. I have time to. I have like 4 or 5 hours to play with. Plus the night before I start looking a little bit, but that's not going to change because I have the weekend for football. Like I'm Friday night, Saturday morning, I have them sitting there all day, just fucking looking at the computer, looking at stats. It's fun. I have so much fun. That's why I love all these new edge websites and stuff like that. Whatever, they have all this research. Like they give these guys, this guy's going to go off, this guy's going to do good. I'm kind of a notebook kind of guy where I like to look at a certain stat and I like to write shit down. It's fun. It's like, that's a thrill for me to like find those matchups myself. They made it a lot easier where you can kind of like cheat and do it and they have everything done for you. But I like an old school way of looking at things. So it's not going to really affect me much because I wasn't sitting there all week looking at football stats anyway. I would dig in Friday night, Saturday morning, and then maybe Saturday night. Saturday night was the big night where I was just like fucking in it. You know what I mean? So, and then have everything ready for Sunday. I like to put everything out there like Sunday, 10 o'clock in the morning. And what I used to do on Twitter was I would post a same game parlay for like each game that I like. 2020 was a ridiculous season for me. I think I hit a plus 10,000, at least one. I would put one SGP out for like crazy odds. I was just like fucking around after I had that big hit. And I think once a week I would hit a plus 10,000 parlay that I posted. It was nuts. That was like a 7-week stretch. It was one of the craziest things. 2021 was still good, but it wasn't as nearly as good.
Well, how the hell do you top that?
Yeah.
No. 2020, we were doing strippers. We were doing the whole thing.
that season was special, man. That was a special season, man.
And I mean, we still, you better leave that as the pin tweet. I mean, until you get another one because it's still. I also just like how much older like the ticket.
The nostalgia on it.
I mean?
Oh my god,
it's a different looking ticket, right?
Oh my god.
Sometimes I'll do a lotto, and it's I'm like looking for a new pin tweet. So like I'll do a crazy stupid lotto for like $3 or like $2, $3, and I'll make it so that way the total amount is like a little bit more than that one. So I want to beat it by a little bit,
just beat it by a little bit.
Yo, so like, have you ever thought about doing like more content? Like I see you like last year, obviously you did the Thursday Night Lotto. You had the baseball show this year. Your Warzone streams are fucking hilarious. Like, have you ever thought about maybe because you see Kenny on YouTube now and he's killing it, uploading damn near daily. Like he's killing it. Have you ever thought about doing some shit like that? Because you would be fucking amazing, brother. You'd be amazing.
And you talk and before you go, I mean, you talked about the personality aspect at the beginning as well.
Great
so
point.
kind of embracing that personality, and you already have like the following for it. So I don't know.
Well, yeah, I'm getting more and more into content now. I actually have a podcast coming out. I don't know if she
Let's
told me
go.
I could. I don't know if she didn't mention anything about talking about it yet. So I don't know if I should. But we do me and someone else have a podcast coming out. Maybe probably next weekend.
I guess we're
Let's go.
I guess we're fucked.
Right. Yeah, pack this shit up, boys.
It's just gonna be like once a week, and I think we're gonna do like anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes, and we're gonna have a weekly show. It's gonna be really cool. And me and Dimers, we're gonna talk tonight. We're gonna see what other content we're gonna start doing because I love this shit. This is fun. I like talking to people. I like talking about betting. So why not? Do a little more content.
Yeah,
And
and I
Kenny's
feel
killing it, by the way. Kenny's
That
edit
shit is fire.
ridiculous.
That
Yeah.
shit is fire.
that fucking 8K cameras making him
Right.
perfect for that. He's like, guys, like I saw he replied to somebody. And he was like, it's just the camera, guys. Like, stop telling me I look good. Like, but yeah, I mean, I think for the content aspect, especially in this NFL season, and we've seen it too, as on these social media platforms as well. Everybody who does content during the NFL season, if you're in sports, if you're in sports gambling, everybody does very, very well during the football season because that's where everyone's attention is, right? So that you're going to get the most amount of views. So like we've been talking too, just about doubling down and like what kind of videos can we do? Who can we bring on? Like what are kind of the different avenues that we can go down that are get the right views for NFL? But it is exciting. So I don't know. I would just say like, thinking about where you would go next. I mean, it's just cool for us to look and think like, you have so many different directions to go to. And you've also been, even just for us looking at, as outsiders in, dude, we've seen so much more content over the past, like every episode that we have you on, it's like the next one, it like builds up and there's this much content, this much content. And then from the last one, it's like this, like, dude, Jerry's flooding my timeline. What the fuck am I going on? Like, what am I seeing?
The first time I was on the show, I think, I recorded with you guys and I was at work.
Yeah, and you didn't have the face on.
yeah.
And you couldn't have the face on.
yeah.
I remember
I had
that.
no face.
We
and
weren't
I was
even in
just
this thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
The next time I was on was about the launch of my Discord,
yep.
which was really cool. And then a few weeks later, I hit that $14,000 hit for $10.
That was crazy.
And-
We did
and
the
I
one
think
with Kenny too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The joint little podcast.
And you were wearing your Miami Dolphins hat, your Miami Dolphins jersey. I remember that one.
And now we're at a point where it's like there's so many options with content, everything like that. I want to get my hands more involved. I enjoy it. This is so much fun for me, like just talking to people. And that's why I hope it reflects on the podcast we're going to do, because we're literally just going to, we're going to talk about obviously football and stuff like that, but we're also going to talk about real issues like, especially like mental health. Like a lot of people are struggling right now and they don't see the real side of people, what people go through, that everybody seems like they have a nice life. And, people sit there and they be like, well, I have a terrible life. Why is everybody having these great lives? But there's a whole other story about mental health that I'm going to be getting into. It's going to be cool.
I think that's got to be touched on more in the gambling community because, like, we talked to Cap last week and what he's going through sometimes with the family stuff and like just not having maybe as good of a run as he wanted to have because he's still killing it. Like when you came on when we were talking about launching your Discord, you were saying you weren't doing as well as you wanted to, but like you're still killing it. We talked to Bo sometimes with his VIP and things he got going on. He seems like he's just sometimes just freaking out. Like I feel like with these cappers, like mental health has to be at the forefront because that shit is not easy. First of all, just getting the right picks. Period. Like I get fucked up in the mental when I go like 0 for 4 in 2 days. Like I'm like, fuck, bro.
And just having the toxic community.
If you do that, you have that. You catch a bad 2 days, a bad Tuesday, Wednesday stretch. Then you have 500 people that paid for your picks hounding you. Like that's definitely something that's got to be talked on a little bit more for sure.
Yeah. It's I the last 2 years I took a real deep dive into like mental health and behavior and stuff like that because I was a nut job when I was younger. When I was in my early 20s, I was a knucklehead, and I really took a step back the last couple of years, especially being on social media, and then the followers are growing, and there's a lot of negativity and nastiness and stuff like that. So I really, really took a deep dive, and like I have such an understanding for my brain and the human brain and how some people react. And there's one thing that's not really talked about a lot is that there are legit mentally ill people. I don't even know if you call it like mentally ill. Like there's people that are just different. They're just wired different, and they need help, but they're not getting help. And that's why I try to be patient with some people. There's some people that they say like these responses that are like different. And I'm like, some people could be legitimately autistic. There's a lot of people with autism. They're on the spectrum and they come off wrong. You know what I mean? They come off wrong. And so that's a whole nother topic, because there's a lot of people that they don't mean harm, but they just say things, and we don't interpret them the same way because our brains are wired different. Then not everybody's calling you a jerk off on Twitter. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
they're just saying things, and they don't understand how to communicate them. So there's a whole other world of mental health out there that I think I'm going to try to touch on over the next few weeks or months.
Hey man, we're super excited.
fucking men from the
I
Godfather.
know. I don't even know how to
A
respond to
fucking
that,
man.
right? But we're super excited to see the news that you released. Obviously, that was the first time that we were hearing anything about podcast and Thursday Night Lotto. But we seriously do want to thank you for your time today and for working with us to kind of figure out exactly what day. Man, he was sick, and we had all this
I got hit
and
with
this
a
and
fucking
this.
brick last week. Jesus Christ.
And the last thing that we will say before you go is we want the Thursday Night Lotto back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
do whatever the fuck you can
Diamonds,
to
you're
get
listening.
that
Jerry, you're listening right now. We need the Thursday
back.
Night Lotto.
We want the Thursday Night Lotto back.
sure.
That was
we were
fun.
getting
guarantee you
some
this.
pics out of that motherfucker.
I
for
can
sure.
guarantee you this: something is happening for football season.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's all we need. I mean, even when you had it on any of the platforms now, and I'll tell you what. Thursday again. Sorry, I'm fucking going off here, but
bro.
Thursday is the best day to do it, right?
Oh,
Because
100%.
like, there's only one game.
Usually the game
Like,
kind of sucks.
Yeah,
You
usually
know what I
it's
mean?
like,
we
Titans, Jaguars.
we
or
got
like-
it. We have to bet it. You know what I mean?
So it's usually the perfect game. But yeah, definitely like whatever you can do. I mean, we want to get some of that stuff back. But again, seriously, man, thank you so much. It's kind of perfect timing for the guests that we've had on in the recent history so far, in the recent couple weeks. So we really do appreciate it. Good luck with everything. We are going to be in touch soon. Hopefully we can link up for the NFL season, for Christ's
Facts.
sake. I mean,
Facts.
I don't know how, it's
down.
it's been a long time. So we've been talking with these other guys about when we're going to get together. So hopefully in the coming weeks, we can get together and plan something. But we seriously do. We have so much love and respect for you, and we can't wait to talk to you again soon.
I appreciate you guys. And a little side note: the last time I was on, that time, 2 weeks later, I hit one of the biggest bomb of my life. So
Okay.
I think this is a good omen that I'm gonna hit something within the next 2 weeks.
know,
That's
So we're
massive.
tailing Jerry.
No one is going to say that it's the luck of the All Day Everyday show. But
Right. We will definitely say that. Yeah,
We'll
we will
say.
for sure.
Appreciate you so much, Jerry. Take care. We love
Take
you, man.
care, fellas.
Thank you, Jerry.
God damn, what a great
Another
guy.
banger.
What a great guy.
Another banger.
Guys, that was a blast. If you are actually, still here and not clicking off this video yet, hit the subscribe button.
You're a G for that, by the way, if you watch this whole video through. Like, to be
Yeah,
honest.
facts. Hit the subscribe button down below. Like the video. Comment down below what you think about the NFL season. If you learned a thing or two about how you're going to, take on your MLB bets for the rest of this season, we're talking to a lot of great people and people that we've met early on in this space. So it's fun to have them on very frequently and catch up with what they've been doing, what we've been doing. This is just a conversation. Like if we were at the bar, we would have had the same conversation. Bro, we haven't talked to you since, you had that beef on Twitter. Like, what the hell else is new, right? It's the same thing. You can follow us on all our social media platforms at 8080 Podcast on Twitter, at 8080 Pod on Instagram, and the name of the show, our TikTok, the All Day Everyday Show. Again, guys, we will be
Shameless plug on those two platforms. TikTok about to hit 3K. Instagram about to hit 600.
We're about to hit.
YouTube about to hit 600. Shameless
You
plug.
guys have no idea.
Check them out. Show some love.
Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Don't forget the ratings. You've been listening to the All Day Everyday Show with All Day AJ and Manny Ruffin. We will see you when we see you. Signing off.
Number 9 for the mob.
Love you guys.
You're up.
With the goal.